During my AS course, a range of technologies that I've used is wide. To enable me to do my coursework, I had to use a Mac. At first, the Mac was quite hard to navigate as it has a different layout and user interface compared to a Windows computer. However, these Macs are very expensive, so there were some rules to follow when using them. One of these rules were that we couldn't drink around the computer. I used Blogger to present my research and planning. I also found this quite hard to use because I'd never run a blog before. This proved to be difficult because the settings were quite hard and they also sometimes didn't work. This is because when I would post a picture onto Blogger and then upload the post, the picture wouldn't show up when I viewed it, and sometimes the text would move and delete itself. The start of my research and planning was to analyse opening films and opening titles. To do this I had to use YouTube and Art of the Title. Art of the Title is a website where you can find the opening titles of the film. At first I didn't understand how to use it as I didn't know where I could find the opening titles because underneath the film name it didn't say it had the opening titles included. YouTube was easier to navigate as I have used it many times before. I could also find some of the opening films that I wanted to quite easily. However, the problems with these websites are that sometimes they don't have the film that you are trying to analyse, so therefore you have to use another way to find the opening. For example, Netflix or LoveFilm. To type the analysis, I used Microsoft Word because I felt like it was easier to get all the text right on Word and then transfer it to Blogger. This is because sometimes they didn't correct grammatical errors on Blogger as much as Word does. To publish these Word documents onto my blog, I had to use ScribeD. I had to embed the link that I had gotten from publishing the document on ScribeD. This was very easy to use as it was quick to upload and very easy to embed the link into Blogger. Another presentation device I used was Prezi. This Prezi was for my presentation on how media theorists apply to our opening. We did this because it would make it easier to see the main things that the audience looks for in a film that can be applied to our ideas. Prezi was also very easy to use as it was easy to add text, pictures and even videos if you wanted to. In the prelim task where we had to film a conversation between two people that involved match on action, shot versus shot and applied to 180 degree rule. For this we used the Handycam. This was easy to use as everyone in our group was familiar with it and its functions weren't that hard to figure out if you hadn't used it before. The Handycam gave us decent quality footage and was easy to upload onto the Macs. To edit the footage we used in the prelim we used iMovie. This was easy to use as the footage was easy to upload and cut together. Using iMovie isn't as professional as using Final Cut. However, it renders automatically, so therefore makes the quality of the product better. After this, we had to carry out a survey on SurveyMonkey. We asked people to do our survey so that we could collect data on what they like to see in a film opening, as well as what they would expect in a thriller, which is our film genre. To get a large amount of people to answer our survey, we posted the link of the survey on Facebook. This is so that the target audience could answer our survey as well as the audience being able to help us and share it to a wide amount of people to answer the survey. Another piece of technology is the photo booth on the Macs. This was for our production plan vlog. We had planned what we wanted to film and when we would film it. We also discussed when we would be editing and start to experiment with the titles as well as leaving time to refilm and think about the sound that we will have on top of our camera shots. To film our opening we used a Canon SLR 60D camera. This was able to do many things. This camera recorded in HD. It was also able to do tasks such as focus pulls and other effects. This camera was very easy to use, but at times it was difficult to handle because when we needed the shot to be still, it would pick up the slightest of shakes. To edit in our opening sequence we used Final Cut Pro. This is the most professional editing software that we had in our school, so therefore it would have made our opening sequence more professional. Therefore, our opening sequence will be slick and run smoothly. However, when we had never used Final Cut Pro before, so it took us a while to get used to the software and use it to the best that we possibly could. Once we finished our edit and put on the titles, we had put music over the top. To find music that wasn't copyrighted, we had to use a website called Freeplay Music. This was where we found the track that we now have on our opening sequence, which is Automate on Pursuit Alt. We found that this music was synchronous with our shots and they complemented each other. A problem we found with that was that the music was only 30 seconds long, so therefore we had to sync and loop the music over each other. This was difficult as it took a long time to sync the music and make it sound like it flowed as well as it was 2 minutes long. We found this, once we had finished all of our editing, we had to export it onto YouTube. This was also difficult as we didn't know how to export the opening onto YouTube when we were using Final Cut. We figured it out in the end and now we have